Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Cali, Colombia, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It's Monday, isn't it? It's Makeover Monday, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've been on a nice little cleanse. Actually, me and Mara have been on a nice little cleanse. And Damodar Priya.
What is the cleanse? What kind of cleanse?
Just like 4 days of juicing. This is our 5th day of juicing.
And coffee, apparently, because I've seen you.
A little coffee sometimes.
Okay.
Coffee's a type of juice.
Is it?
You got to juice those coffee beans.
Food is kind of a juice too. Because when you chew it, like the juice comes out, right? Like the whatever food in my Glubjamin. It's a lot of juicy thing, if you ask me. Right?
Yeah, well, I've been drinking Glubjamin juice too. That doesn't count. I've juiced a few Glubjamins in the Vitamix.
Okay.
Even Karuna gets that joke. But anyway, I think, I feel like, you know what? I have no good excuse not to be juicing right now. It's hot out. It's there's fresh everywhere. There's a juice bar down the road.
It's a great juice bar.
Easy.
What is it? Juicery Kitchen.
Juicery Kitchen.
If you're ever passing through Cali, check out the Juicery Kitchen.
Oh man, I had some watermelon. I had some turmeric shots, some watermelon, pineapple, lemon. Yeah, we're flying high. Mara, what's your favorite?
Ooh, that watermelon juice was really good.
You had that too?
Yeah.
I like that carrot turmeric thing they've been making.
Yeah, the little ginger shots are good too.
The guy's from Williamsburg, so he knows all the latest in, what's healthy, because that's like the hub of alternative health, Williamsburg. But it's great. And the produce is so cheap. They just juice for cheap, and we're buying like big bags of it every day. Right. They can't keep up with us, truthfully. I got there last night after the program, and they're like, no more juices. I was like, don't you understand? We will buy all of your juices.
Well,
just
like,
make
don't
more
you
juices.
Understand? You already did.
No, it's like no one has that. If this was like America knows how to sell things. We know a bunch of Americans are 10 with credit cards. We'd be like, it's packed. We'd pack that thing out.
Right.
They don't have that American psycho ambition. They're just like, we've made enough today. That's enough. We've made enough money today. Take it easy.
Maybe that's a healthier mentality.
It is a healthier mentality, but it doesn't work. Just like Europe has
it's working
Europe's
for him.
very slow. They have what do they call that? The slow economy in Europe, where they close at right? They close it from 1. The restaurants close from 1 to 4. That's enough to drive an American out of their mind. It's like 3 o'clock and I'm starving. I'm like, what? I'm just running around the streets of Italy, losing
angry
my
at everyone.
Angry at everyone, screaming in what little Italian I know. And everything's closed on Sunday, because it's a holy day. And it's enough. Yeah. In America, you come to America 24/7. You want food 24/7. All the
you
time.
Want bad quality
Costco,
food
all the time.
24/7. It's available.
We got that.
Terrible
we will
food.
Kill you 24 hours a day. We'll make you obese with our diet. Yeah. Anyway.
How about announcements, Raghu? We got any announcements, Mara?
We're going tubing today. We're going on a Wisdom of the Sages tubing trip. That's our big announcement for today.
Okay.
Everybody's
That's why we're
invited.
early.
That's why it's early today, because we got to get out here. We got some important business tubing down a river. Now, some people say that's not pure devotional service. Me and Kaustubha say otherwise.
That's
What do
right.
you say, Kaustubha?
You just got to dovetail it. You know, we're going to be doing kirtan as we're going down that river on the tube. No doubt.
Yeah, that's for sure. We got a real kirtan group here. You know what's great, Kaustubha, is, you know, I've done yoga retreats.
Mary like had her announcements like all lined up. She's like, put it away for another 10 minutes.
Well, I just want to have an appreciation for wisdom
Okay,
of the
go ahead.
Sages demographic is, you know what's great is,
What's great?
I've done yoga retreats in the past, and you know, you get somebody who's like been to a workshop with me, and they're like, oh, I like this guy. He seems like a good yoga teacher, and they sign up for a yoga retreat, but they don't really know what they're getting into. You know, they're sort of going in like, they might sing those songs.
Well, we had a few people that apparently did. I mean, we tried to let them before Wisdom of the Sages when we were doing retreats and stuff. We always try to be like really upfront about like what this is going to be about. And hey, we're a couple Hare Krishnas here. We're going to India. We're going to go to the temples, right? And then they freak out.
We've made that mistake before where people don't get it. But for this trip, everybody's complete. It's like they've been listening to the Bhagavatam for 2 years, looking in a little Zoom window, and now they're like losing their marbles. Like all the people they know and everything, and they're just, damn, we had like such a nice kirtan last night. It was out of control.
I missed that one.
I know. Mara missed it too. She had important things to do, whatever. But it was really sweet. And Rocco had a really good day playing Mridanga with Lilo and Chapu and Sega.
I heard Rocco was kind of one of the stars last night. He really stepped up.
Rocco star shine last night. It was one of those things that like, it was a parenting win where you feel like you got a taste for kirtan last night. You got like a real taste for kirtan.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, any boring announcements?
Well, if you're not going tubing on the Wisdom of the Sages trip, we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today at 1 and 9:30 Eastern Time. And then tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Kaustubha's offering his Bhagavatam class again for Patreon members. It'll be live streamed.
Okay, we got three of them already up on Patreon, and we'll do the fourth tomorrow.
Yeah. The tubing trip will be up on Patreon if you want to join on the tubing trip, a virtual tubing trip. You got to just bring your own tube, set up in a bathtub, and then just put up the camera and then turn the shower on. It's like real life adventure.
All right, Raghu, you got a nugget?
Yes, I do, my friend. It's from my old friend Plato. You might have heard of him. Not to be confused with
what's his
Plato.
last name?
And Plato?
Yeah.
Plato Socrates.
That's his last name?
No, that's his teacher, I think.
Okay.
The unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined life is not worth living. Don't live.
It's so true. Don't live. No, I think it means examine your life. That doesn't mean don't live. It means examine your life, Raghu.
I looked at it the negative way. Okay, we shouldn't be living. No, examine your life, people.
Yeah.
Right? It's like getting in a car and driving. Hey, where you driving? I don't know. What do you mean we don't know? I'm just driving. Don't worry, I'll go faster. No, not faster, man. Examine where you're going first. What do you think about that? Plato.
Yeah, well, I think it's obviously very true. By the way, I
don't you ever wonder why these guys aren't all devotees? Why wasn't Plato worshiping Krishna? He was smart. Socrates was smart.
Maybe it was.
They weren't. We would know that. They would leave that clue.
Well, there may be clues there. How much Plato have you read, Raghu? That beyond
this quote.
Beyond that
I've read this quote many times, my friend. I have a coffee cup with this quote on it, my friend. That's where I got it from.
But actually, you know what? This quote is not actually Plato, because I was looking it up while you were introducing everyone. But it was written by Plato. But it's from Plato's Apology. I think it's called the Apology of Socrates, which was when Socrates was like at trial.
Oh yeah,
Plato and he was having this dialogue. And so I believe it's Socrates that actually said that. And
but Plato wrote it.
But Plato wrote it, yeah. So yeah, because I was thinking about that quote, and it just in a very general sense, the fact is that most people largely are just moving from day to day. You know, they're going through their education, and then they're going to college, and mostly what they're thinking about is, I need to make some money, right? And then the next thing you know, you got some kids, and the next, you know, and you don't examine, you know, what are we doing here very much, you know? But what to speak of, and this was what I found, we did a really very fascinating interview, I felt, yesterday with Yogi Charu. You know,
I missed it. I was not feeling well.
that's okay, Raghu, that's all right. But Yogi
Everybody liked
Charu, you know, he's like a real yogi. Like, he goes into the mind. He'll do all kind of, you know, these yogis, they were experimenting with the mind and really examining the
Mara,
mind.
it sounds like Kaustubha saying, I'm not a real yogi.
What are you talking about? What you see? What
You just said he's a real yogi. I'm sitting right here. Am I not a real yogi?
There's a lot of us sitting here, and you're the only one that thinks that somehow that was a negative comment about you. Right? I think you need to examine that, Raghu. All right? Examine that. but my point is that he does these experiments, and when but part of what I meant by saying real yogi is like, you know, when we say yogi, Bhakti-yogi is a type of yogi, but sometimes we use the term yogi to also mean more like an Ashtanga yogi, right? So someone who's like very meditative and going deep into the mind. And so he examines the mind, and he does external things to, you know, improve his examination mind, like fasting or
like
you know,
I'm doing
vows
now.
of silence and things like that.
Sometimes
Juice
I do that.
fasting. There you go, Raghu. He was talking about juice fasting yesterday. You should check it out.
Yeah. Well, maybe he should check out my podcast.
Okay, maybe he should. But he said this really interesting thing. Okay, and this is to examine the mind. Okay, and because you're such a real yogi, Raghunath, I think you're going to appreciate this, and maybe and maybe even do it especially now that you're on your juice fast. He said that you can, and you know, he studied with these yogis like the Bihar School of Yoga. Right? Can you imagine what that place is like? We should go do.
These guys are serious. You know, it never Bihar School of Yoga. It never made it to America.
Yeah.
It never made it to America. Not really. It's not big. It got big in Europe, and then Europe got hit by
Australia.
the Vinyas wave. It got big in Australia.
Yeah.
But these were the guys that it was Satyananda, he says he was a disciple of. You want to hear something interesting about Satyananda?
Shivananda.
No, Satyananda said he was a disciple of Shivananda, and guess who met him in America? You're never going to guess.
Who met who?
Who met Satyananda? Pradyumna.
Bubba, Pradyumna has met everyone. I mean, that man is just like, there's no one that he's not connected to.
Pradyumna was the one who traveled as Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor when Shamasundar was traveling with him through Bombay in the old days. And he told me that he met Satyananda. And, you know, here's like a young American Sanskrit pundit, and he challenges Satyananda. He says, why aren't you following your guru?
Oh, he challenged him.
He challenged him. He says,
Did he? Well, hold it.
You said
Did he
your guru
ask
is
him-
Shivananda. He said, your
Did
guru
he-
is Shivananda. Why aren't you following your guru?
Was it a challenge question? Like, why aren't you following? Or was it like, why aren't you following your guru? Somewhat like
I don't
that.
know, actually.
Okay.
I don't know. He
But
said
you make
your
it sound like
guru-
God right up in his
because
face.
your guru speaks about the holy name and Lord Krishna is God and stuff like that. Because Bihar School of Yoga, even according to Charu, they're impersonalists, hardcore.
Yeah.
I think it's card carrying Mayavadis.
So what was
in the
his
Bhakti
answer?
school? Huh?
What was his answer?
He didn't say anything. I think he head bobbled. Something like
do
that.
what
But
I
I
wanna
think
do.
he has other. I think Satyananda Maharaj had other gurus that were not Shivananda also, because Shivananda never taught a lot of these mystical things. So
That
as
the
far as I
Bihar
know.
school gets into.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, there's some school in Bihar, which is a state in India, where they're doing all of these experimentations into the mind, And so Charu studied there, Yogi Charu studied there. And so this is what he shared with us yesterday. Now, you're on your juice fast. You are a real yogi. So check this out, Raghu, and see if you want to give it a try, okay?
Maybe I'm already doing it.
And this is so that maybe you made it up. I don't know, but he said this is so that one can have a peaceful mind, so that you can, again, absorb that mind in deeply spiritual thought. So he said you could divide the mind up into 4 quadrants, and you can examine your desires by placing your desires in one of 4 categories. So he said, first there's needs, like I desire certain things that I need. There are real needs that we have, things, like at least relatively, we need, right? We need some shelter, we need food, we need there's some basic things that we need. Some of our desires will fit under that category. Those are necessary. We can go through that list and see, is it really a need? Right? Is it really? Or maybe it falls in the second category. That's called cravings, right? Things that you want, but that you actually don't need. Okay? Got any of those in your examinations,
Do
Raghu?
you have any cravings, any needs? Yeah, I've got a few.
Okay. And then he said the third category is called aspirations. Those are things you would like to achieve, and that you may practically achieve, and they may be good things. So you might want to have some, you probably should want some aspirations there in that category. But you could also check, are they worthy aspirations or not? So you want to go through that list and figure out what belongs there, where you will focus energy to achieve something in the future. And then he said the fourth category is called yearnings. And those are like aspirations, but ones that are just like you will never achieve. Like
a fantasy.
They're fantasy, exactly. And how much of your mind, like if you take all four quadrants and you take 100% of your time, how much of your time is spent? How much of your mind is spent in which quadrants? Do you spend a lot of time in fantasy? That's going to get you absolutely nowhere, and there'll be no peace of mind. It's really a waste of time and a waste of the mind. How much are your desires cravings? What percentage of your desires are cravings, and you spend contemplating that and wanting that, and in a sense breeding a sense of dissatisfaction. And can you narrow your things down to needs and healthy aspirations? And that's what the yogi's doing. They're kind of like, they're examining their life. They're as Plato says, right? To not examine life, to not examine your own mind, in one sense is a wasted mind or a wasted life. And so the yogis, they slow down and they think about these things. I thought it was interesting.
Like
I thought you might find it interesting. Yeah.
Where do you find that, being focused, being goal? You hear stories about, the story about Sylvester Stallone, that he was just like, he wrote this.
He wrote Rocky.
He wrote Rocky. He wrote Rocky, and he tried to sell it to everybody. And he wanted to star in it. And everyone's like, people are like, oh, it's a pretty good movie. Okay. He goes, but I want to star in it. And they were like, no. And they kept on turning him down. And he just never stopped pounding the pavement. Mm-hmm. Then it hit. Someone took the screenplay, and it became a best-selling movie. So my question is, how do you know, Kaustubha? How do you know if you're just not living in fantasy or if you're not just trying hard enough? What would you answer that?
Well, in other words, you're saying someone might have said that's just a fantasy to him, but
you're crazy. You're never going to be a Hollywood star like Sylvester.
But in his mind, it was always aspiration, right?
Yeah, right. What do you think?
Well, some things are clearly fantasy, and you say you're fantasizing about marrying someone who's already married, or you're fantasizing about becoming like some, so there's certain things that are like clearly impossible, right?
Yeah.
That clearly won't be achieved. So those are like, there's no question about those. We can already stop contemplating them because we're just wasting our mind on it, right?
That's a good point.
And then there's others that fall into more this Sylvester Stallone kind of category, where it's just like people are telling you that it's never going to happen, but you're determined that it could happen. And you might very well prove them wrong. And I don't know if there's a simple formula for that, but what there is, and it's something that you share often on the show, is that you do have to have people that you trust in your life that you can discuss these things with, right?
Right.
Is this something that's really worth focusing on, investing your mind in, investing your time in, maybe investing other resources in? Is it really worth it?
Right. It's an over endeavor what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm trying to be in a rock band. We're going to break it. I know it. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll say, okay, you know what? Dedicate the next year to it. See what happens. But if not, then let it go. You got to have some kind of
parameters.
Parameters. Yeah. In life. All right. Then. Anyway, that's worth checking out. That's episode 635, the interview with Yogi Charu. It was an interesting interview. He talks slow, Raghunath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he talks very slow.
What's that about?
It's called Peaceful Mind, maybe. What's that all about? And not only was he talking slow, but there was a lag, in his connection because he was in Belize.
So it
Yeah.
was like really
Really
Drew,
slow.
how do you feel? And then he was like coming back really slow.
You got to listen on like
but it was deep.
2 times the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I'm
deep.
going to start talking slower too. I've been working on it.
Okay.
All right, let's do this. Come on.
So let's do it.
Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmadatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus-like feet. Hi, I'm the new Raghunath.
Slow.
I'm different.
Slow.
Slow. I'm bored listening to slow Raghunath.
Okay, that didn't take long.
You want me at 5 a.m., you need faster Raghunath.
Okay. This is Raghunath who drinks coffee when he's juice fasting. Okay. That wasn't to criticize you. I'm just saying, you're
Mara made it
jacked
for
up on
me.
You
Mara made it. I
asked
blame
me for
Mara.
it.
because you asked for it.
Wait, yeah.
Can't we blame Mara for what happened to radical irresponsibility? What happened to that? That's what the game we are playing here. Wisdom Sage.
What just happened is you just got me caught up in a last second squirrel. Let's get into Bhagavatam.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 5, Text 20.
Oh, this is chaos. We're in the middle of the chaos right now, Raghunath.
Chaos. Chaos. What was that? Like
I
discharge
think
or
that
something?
was that the Four Skins or something like that? I forget.
Oh. All right, wait a second here. The Four Skins.
First time we brought them up on the show.
Okay, let's get them on the show. It's amazing, like none of those punk guys got into heart. And I'm writing back in my book right now about I'm going through some editing, but youth of today.
This is another last second squirrel, but go ahead.
Youth of today stayed with polystyrene from the X-ray specs.
And that didn't make it in the book?
No, it did make it into the book. I'm just sharing. Were you an X-ray specs fan?
I mean, I liked a couple of their songs. Yeah, they only had one
me and
record, I think,
Parmananda were huge fans. And then I met her. I met her at the temple.
And she's a devotee, initiated devotee.
On my way to India. I saw her in the temple. She came. I was sitting there just like doping around, like on my way to India. And she walks in, sits down, and just starts chanting japa. I was like, oh my God, total fanboy. I was like, it's polystyrene. And she was it. She was the one. She rubbed elbows with Sid Vicious. And then she got up after like a half hour, 45 minutes of chanting. I was like, I gotta approach her. And I ran up to her. I was like, I'm your biggest fan. And then she just walked me down the street. I walked her to a recording studio and she just preached to me the entire time. It was great.
Nice.
And then we did the same thing the next day. I met her the next day. And then she came to the Youth of Today show in England. Isn't that
Did
cool?
you enjoy it?
1989.
Had a good time?
Yeah. She said, you guys can stay off my house. And we all stayed with her.
That's so nice. She passed away not too long ago, right? A few years back.
Yeah, she passed away. Her daughter, matter of fact, one of you guys out there, I can't remember who sent me the link, sent me a link there was a documentary made by her daughter. She was a great soul, Maharani.
Well, Narayani is saying, oh no, I missed out on that. Narayani was into angelic upstarts and apparently X-ray specs.
Yeah, that was it. Anyway, if you know the link to her movie, maybe post it. Maybe Mara can put it up on the board.
Okay. Now, Raghunath, we're going to read
Canto 4, chapter.
Hold it. Narayani just told me that it wasn't X-ray specs. She was into the Four Skins.
Oh, whoops. Nice try.
All right, I'm learning more about Narayani every day here.
Yeah, Narayani.
Very interesting.
We're not going to hold you to your past or present, Narayani.
Maybe
Okay.
just a little. Okay.
All right. What chapter? What Canto 4, chapter?
5.
Yeah,
Next
we were talking
chapter.
about chaos. That's how we went off on this squirrel. Chaos.
Okay.
So this is the what happened was that Daksha screwed everything up by not appreciating his daughter Sati and offending Lord Shiva. Sati was so disgusted with him that she spontaneously combusted right in front of everyone and committed this yogic suicide. Chaos broke out. All of Lord Goblin followers, started attacking the Brahmanas and Daksha. Brigu got up, chanted a few mantras and repelled them, right? But then Narada told Lord Shiva, "Do you know what just happened?"
Went to Lord Shiva's house and
flew over there
and gave him the response. Narada started singing, "When all hell breaks loose."
It's broken loose over there. And then,
don't laugh, Mara. You don't even know what I'm talking about. She's laughing, but she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
She knows now. It's a Misfits song.
She does not know that.
Because we talked about it a couple shows ago.
Okay.
So then Lord Shiva, now hell's really about to break loose. Lord Shiva pulls out one of his hairs, throws it on the ground, and this Virabhadra character, this massive, scary, frightening, gigantic
dark-skinned demon.
He goes there along with a whole army. And now they're attacking the Brahmanas, and they are really this time Brigu couldn't fight them off. It was just too powerful.
Brigu was pretty cool. He did some curse, which did what? I can't remember. He killed or
well, no, it wasn't a curse. What he did was he just chanted a mantra that created an army of his followers to repel Shiva's followers. But now that Shiva has directly gotten involved, the Brahminical Daksha side is losing. They're tearing up the whole place. They tore down the pandal that the sacrifice was under. They ran through the women's quarters. They urinated, Raghunath. They urinated
the sacred fire
all over the sacred area.
Don't try this at home.
It was, the funny thing is in this story, what's going to happen in the next chapter is all the followers of Daksha are going to have to go to Lord Brahma, and Brahma's going to say, now go back and apologize to Lord Shiva. And all of Lord Shiva's followers who were urinating all over they never have to apologize for anything. It was
what's that about?
Apparently it was justified, So we're in the middle of that right now. And what's happening now is this character, Virabhadra, he just found Brigu, who's this powerful Brahmin, who's even got mystic powers, and he ripped the mustache right out of his face.
That's right. That's an insult.
The thing was, because what happened was when Daksha was cursing Shiva back a couple chapters, Brigu smiled. And when he smiled, it kind of showed off that mustache in some way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Became,
twirled it, remember?
Yeah. And so Virabhadra's that mustache that's gone. And just ripped it out of his face. So that's where we are
all
right
the guys on Zoom listening with mustaches are ooh.
Yeah. So that was text 19. Virabhadra tore off the mustache of Brigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire. He was just right in the act of his religious
All right, let's
duty.
read.
Yeah.
You're on a Cliff Notes squirrel now.
No, I was just setting you up now. Text 20.
Text 20. Okay. Virabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who had been moving his eyebrows during Brigu's cursing. So you move your eyebrows when you're I
got a feeling he's about to lose his eyebrows.
Oh no! They were all laughing. Right, and Brigus, and out of great anger, thrust him to the ground and forcibly put out his eyes.
Oh, that was worse than the eyebrows.
Yeah. I would have just said, "Take the eyebrows, please, before you take my
the brows."
Just as Baladev's knocks out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga.
Yeah,
that's 10th canto. Isn't it interesting? They're talking about the 10th canto. Okay, that makes sense. Because the 10th canto, I guess, already happened in real time.
That's right.
Just as Baladev knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Virabhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had shown them who had shown them he showed his teeth.
He showed
while
his teeth.
cursing Lord Shiva.
Yeah, cursed him and showed his teeth.
And Pusha, who by smiling sympathetically also showed his teeth. He was like, yeah, you want to smile at me? You're going to lose all those teeth.
Ouch.
All right. Then Virabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful.
So Daksha had some kind of like
a thick neck.
Some kind of special protection, like he had some kind of kavacha. Maybe he chanted kavacha mantras or something like that. His neck was...
Yeah, may the Lord protect my neck.
Yeah.
He tried to cut the head off of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to even cut the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus Virabhadra was exceedingly bewildered.
That's amazing. Imagine Virabhadra. Now he's this massive, frightening, deadly
Monsters.
being that's got like wearing a garland of skulls and is just...
Human skulls.
And he's sitting on the chest of Daksha and he's trying to hack away at his neck and he can't get anywhere. So then he starts chanting hymns.
This is like a horror movie.
But then he starts chanting
call this
hymns.
This is your religion? This is like a horror movie.
But then he started chanting hymns to try to get the head off of him. I mean, that's pretty far.
All right. Then Virabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to be killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. This must be some type of guillotine of sorts.
Guillotine, yeah. Prabhupada is quick to mention that in this connection, it is noted that this device used for killing animals in the sacrifice was not designed to facilitate eating their flesh. The killing was specifically intended to give a new life to the sacrificed animal by the power of Vedic mantra.
Thank God he wrote that in the purport, or we would have been like confused. Yes. Upon seeing the action of Virabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons had come and made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha.
So he doesn't actually die, though.
He doesn't die. Well, you know.
Or maybe he died and they brought him back.
Virabhadra then took the head and with great anger threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial arena, offering it as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for the master's abode, Kailash.
So mission accomplished.
We hear a lot about decapitating and re-putting on heads. Ganesh, same thing, got decapitated by Lord Shiva. And then they killed the elephant and they put the head on Ganesh's body.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thing that happens.
Apparently.
Our scientific technology has not gotten into head replacement yet. We're working our way up the ladder. We're thinking, oh yeah, we can do,
maybe in the metaverse,
bypass surgery and what's that?
Maybe in the
meta universe, yeah. In the metaverse, you can definitely switch out heads.
So Raghunath, this is where the Daksha's offenses brought him, right? He was insulting a great soul, Lord Shiva. He was shallow in the depth of his own spirituality and had the audacity to criticize Lord Shiva, who's this very exalted, very deeply devotional, very spiritually deep person. And
Sure.
This is where it led. It led to the suicide of his own daughter, public humiliation, and then ultimately like the destruction of his sacrifice, and the ripping out of his friend's mustache, the knocking out of his own teeth, and his own now I was going to say, now all of Shiva's followers have gone back to Shiva. Like, we tore that place up.
I think it's a good time to impart like part 2 of I Take No Offense, which is...
Okay.
No, this is
Quick to
important. It's a real
apologize?
thing. I'm not just joking.
Right.
It's a real thing. Is we, as practicing Vaishnavas, devotees of Lord Vishnu,
Mm-hmm.
when people offend us, we don't take offense. When people say cruel things to us, so we don't misconstrue people saying that Yogi Charu is a great yogi. We don't misconstrue and say, "Oh, you think I'm a bad yogi?" That's what I was just sort of jokingly did earlier.
Right.
We oftentimes misconstrue someone saying something to be an offense, right? But even when people deliberately offense us, Hare Krishna, we take no offense. That if I'm getting offended on a regular basis, or at least I'm carrying resentment around in my mind, that's my problem. That's not their offending problem. That's my problem, because people on a spiritual path, we do not take offense.
That's your circle of influence, right? Like, in other words, you can't necessarily stop someone from saying things about you, but you can determine how you're going to respond to it or experience it.
Sure. Yeah. And we have the same, you can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. It's like that. We put our hands, you can't hurt me. I take no offense. And I train myself to see the good. That being said, we are like lions when we hear about an offense of another Vaishnava or a great soul or our teacher or guru. We don't tolerate that. It infuriates us. And that is demonstrated in here, in the followers of Lord Shiva. They were very offended that they offended a great soul, Lord Shiva. And they got very angry. They did take offense. You don't offend great souls. They got furious at that. And we see that in the demonstration of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda in the Jagai Madai pastime. Lord Nityananda got hit in the head with the clay pot. He took no offense. He's like, he felt like, these guys are so fallen. They're drunkards. They're intoxicated. They're dangerous people, but I'm going to give them the holy name. And in their drunken stupor, they smashed a pot on Nityananda's head. And even with that pot smashed on his head, he's begging them, listen, I get it. Just take the holy name, right? But Lord Chaitanya demonstrated the reaction. You get very, very offended if someone hurts a great devotee. Commentary by Kaustubha.
Well, it's a great point that you're making, and I think we can see it was the followers of Lord Shiva that got upset, but that began with Sati, right? And when Sati, she was speaking, she was angry, said her eyes were like red, but you could see that that anger wasn't like bewildering to her. It was because she was speaking detailed truth and detailed, Vedic instruction, in that state of anger. So yeah, she couldn't tolerate hearing Shiva being criticized in that way. I'm with you.
But you want to comment more on the idea of getting offended when devotees are offended?
Well, that's exactly what I was just doing.
Oh, well, I mean, I just we're going to tease it more. I thought you were going to tease it out more. Okay.
No. I just thought that her example. My point is that you can call it. I don't know if we should call it her rage, but it's certainly her anger. Generally, anger clouds one's clarity. That's my point. Generally, when we become angry, we don't think clearly. We do things that we regret. We say things that we regret. But because her anger, you could say, was righteous anger. It had nothing to do with herself and everything to do with her intolerance of hearing the criticism of a great soul. That when she was angry like that, she was speaking very clearly and very truthfully. But she does mention there's other ways that we should be real careful about using this to justify all kinds of words or actions that we might feel we're doing, with justification. Because also, probably most of the time more appropriate will just be like to walk away from it, to not, Sometimes, have you ever had that kind of thing where you have to tell a friend? I've had friends, devotee friends, Bhakti-yogi friends, who just start criticizing me and say, you know what, I'm just not going to talk about this with you. It's like, you're my friend and everything, but if you're going to talk like this, I'm just not going to spend time with you, Sometimes you just have to do it. You don't have to necessarily pull their mustache out, but or urinate on their home or anything like that. But you can just say, let's not talk about this stuff because, I'm not going to be able to hang out with you if you are. That's a good thing. You got to do that sometimes. Stand up. Even though it's uncomfortable, awkward.
Yeah.
Set some good boundaries.
Walk away, stand up. Yeah. Her screen is frozen with her eyes closed.
It's you, Raghu. It's your connections
it's me?
Of the week.
Okay.
Yeah. We're ready for chapter 6.
Okay. I thought maybe Mara slept.
I didn't fall asleep.
Chapter 6. Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. Here we go.
Now, all of the followers of Daksha, they're like, whoa, we messed up. Everything's become very inauspicious. We need to go to a wise person to help figure out what to do next. So they go to Lord Brahma. The adult in the room, the voice of reason.
Right. Text 1 and 2. All the priests and other members of the sacrificial assembly and all the demigods having been defeated by the soldiers of Lord Shiva and injured by weapons like tridents, swords, approached Lord Brahma with great fear. After offering him obeisances, they began to speak in detail of all the events which had taken place.
That's humbling, right? To have to go for this Lord Brahma. He's peaceful. He's beyond all this. He doesn't create messes like this. And they go and like, we really messed up.
Text 3. Both Lord Brahma and Vishnu had already known about such events. They already knew such events would occur in the sacrificial arena of Daksha. And knowing beforehand, they did not go to the sacrifice.
They saw that coming.
They saw it coming. It brings inauspiciousness. What Daksha did, it brings on us. Whenever there's offenses going on, even in devotee communities, if I hear people have that defensive, I'm not interested. We don't want to go there. We don't want to be part of it. We don't want to be any part of discussion that offends Vaishnavas. It is the number one deal breaker for my spiritual life, is making offenses like that. So we have to guard against it. And, I have a tendency to be a little sarcastic and rude. So I have to watch out for myself. And, sometimes you get into a little jokey, Kaustubha, a little jokey. And you got to be careful if you cross that line.
I think I crossed that line yesterday, Raghunath. I apologize to you right now. I'm going to be quick to apologize.
Oh, because you said I was fat and unintelligent? That one? That one?
That's the one. I didn't say it exactly like that. You're making it sound a lot worse than it was. You were saying it. I was just going
I took
along
no
with it.
offense.
But I think I went too far, so I'm apologizing, Raghunath.
I don't even remember. That's how little offense I took. I don't even remember it.
No, you just played it back.
Oh, I just said it. Okay. I went to sleep like, oh, that Kaustubha.
No, I think I did go too. I mean, I wasn't. Anyway, I don't want to try to rationalize or justify what I said. So, but it would be interesting to give the context because it sounds really bad the way you just presented it. Okay.
Yeah, it was a funny one. It was a fun.
It was a funny. Okay. It was a.
I can tell it if you want. It was a funny thing.
Okay. Can
I share it?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was giving a lecture in England, and I felt like I wasn't sounding so smart the way I was presenting it. And I said to Rachel, who's now managing, we got to interview Rachel. She's got an interesting story. Who's sort of now managing Wisdom of the Sages, and she's managing me. And I said to Rachel, I was like, you know what? I sound so stupid. It's like I speak and that's like the stupidest things come out of my mouth. And she's like, Raghunath, people see your heart. You communicate because you speak from the heart. They don't care how dumb or ugly you are. And I was like, what? I never said I was ugly. They don't care.
And then so then we started adding to it, right? It doesn't matter how dumb you are, how ugly you are, fat, bald you are. It doesn't matter, Raghunath. We love you. But I think I did take it.
It doesn't matter. How much hair is on your neck? It doesn't matter. I know there's hair coming out of your ears. It doesn't matter. People are not looking at the hair in your ears climbing out of your nose, Raghunath. It doesn't matter.
Your bodily odor doesn't matter to us. None of
these doesn't matter. We love you. Stink all you want. Even though you've taken showers with many, many layers of deodorant soaps on top of you and you still smell, that's okay. It's okay with us.
All right. I think I'm going too far again, so I apologize again.
Sorry.
Okay. Now we're going to get the instruction. Now Lord Brahma is going to tell them when you offend someone, what you got to do. It's the only thing to do.
Yep. Both. All right. When Lord Brahma heard everything from the demigods and the members who had attended the sacrifice, he replied, you cannot be happy in executing a yajna if you blaspheme a great personality and thereby offend his lotus feet. You cannot have happiness in that way.
Boom.
Yep.
There's a lot in that
Boom.
verse.
He said it right there.
Yeah.
There's
a lot. There's a lot here. In other words, he's saying you cannot be happy in executing a sacrifice. In other words, you may think, look, I'm executing. When we talk about executing sacrifice in this Vedic context, it means that I'm being a good religious, pious person, right? I'm civilized and I'm thinking about God and being a good religious person and so on. Well, you know what? None of that means anything, right? None of that means anything if you're blaspheming a great personality. If you're offending those that are dear to God, your sacrifice is like we heard earlier, right? It's like pouring ghee onto ashes. It's like there's no connection.
What good is your religion, Daksha, if you're offending great souls, right?
And the result is it gets down to the most basic fundamental principle is you won't be happy. Basically, that's what all we want is to be happy. You know, that's why we do the religious sacrifice. That's why we do everything else that we do, is so that we can be happy. Yeah. And
also, like we were saying yesterday or the day before yesterday about how when people are critical of other people, you live with that. It's not just when it comes out of your mouth. You're playing that criticism over in your mind again and again. So really getting rid of criticism from your diet, your mental diet, or your mental practice is so important because you're just not happy, right?
You're just not happy. You said that slow. That was powerful.
I'm trying to talk slower, man.
Nice.
Just not happy. Now Mara's face is frozen because I have a weak connection. Her Zoom face is frozen in a clown-like smile, like.
Okay, Raghunath.
Okay.
Text 5.
6.
Text 5.
Text 5. You have excluded Shiva from taking part in the sacrificial results, and therefore you are all offenders at his lotus feet. Still, if you go without mental reservations and surrender unto him and all fall down at his lotus feet, he will be very, very pleased.
He's Asutosh.
That's what you got to do. You got to go to them and apologize.
Yeah, he'll accept it. That's because he's such a great soul.
Brahma. Oops, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, because he's such a great soul. I mean, he lost his wife. You know, it's heavy. But he's such a great soul. If you apologize sincerely, he'll accept it. And this next verse, Raghunath, it talks about, this is good because one of your 6 pillars is to be quick to apologize, right? You there? You with me? You're frozen. Raghunath. You want to come down here and just finish the show on my mic? Slide down the slide, Raghu. We'll show everyone. You want to come? Hey, Raghu, you going to come down? Just come down. We just got a few minutes left. Let's see if he doesn't. He's trying to. Okay, I guess he's not. So anyway, I'll
Sorry
say
about that. What did I miss?
Okay. Well, nothing except me asking you to slide down. But I was going to say one of your 6 pillars is to be quick to apologize, right?
Quick to apologize.
Yeah.
Or else the resentment ferments.
Okay. So here's an idea. And you're writing a book eventually about the 6 pillars, right?
That's my next book after this book, 6 Pillars of Bhakti.
Okay. So maybe you could include this because this talks about the quality of the apology and where your mind should be when you apologize.
Me likey.
Text number 6.
Okay. Lord Brahma also advised them that Lord Shiva is so powerful that by his anger, all the planets and their chief controllers can be destroyed immediately. Each planet has a deity of the planet. Mm-hmm. Also, he said that Lord Shiva was especially sorry because he had recently lost his dear wife and was also very much afflicted by the unkind words of Daksha. Under the circumstance, Lord Brahma suggested it would behoove them to go at once to beg his pardon.
Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. It was in the previous text 5, that had, and we just passed right over it. You ready? It says,
here's text 5.
Yeah, back to text 5. He says, still, if you go without mental reservations, right? The term is parishuddha chetasaha. Parishuddha means, like parishuddha means very pure, completely pure, right? Parishuddha chetasa, with your mind completely free of mental reservations. In other words, when you apologize, you do it with no holding back. You do it without trying to hang on to even within the mind.
Right.
without some form of rationalization, that's a real apology right there.
Right. You own 100% of what you're responsible for, and you overlook what they've done. Otherwise, if you're still holding on to what they've done, it's not an apology. You have to just own 100% of what you're responsible for.
Probably should have.
And you might even want to ask, you might want to even ask them, how have I hurt you? So you can really understand what you're even apologizing for.
Oh, interesting. Actually, I saw something this morning. Let me see if I can find it.
Tell me.
It had to do with apologies. I was thinking of pulling it up for a nugget, actually. If I can find. Oh,
Here comes the nug. Do 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 do.
Okay, this is just something I found.
Here comes the nug.
You ready? A good apology has 3 parts.
Yep.
First one. Can you hear me? Did we just lose you? Did we lose him again, Mara?
He's there.
Oh, he's here. Okay.
I'm there,
So here's a
but-
good apology, Raghunath. It has 3 parts. 1, I'm sorry. 2, it's my fault. 3, what can I do to make it right? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that all you got to say? Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Well, no, I like it. I like it because that talks about now how to move forward.
Right.
Now how to move forward.
Not just looking back, moving forward.
That's what's important about that one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Why don't we end there on that nugget?
I got you. Oh, it's 5:58, and we have to go tubing.
Yeah.
Kaustubha,
I'm ready to end it.
no more dallying on your squirrels, on your apology squirrels.
I'm done.
Now we have to go tubing. I'm going to go on a tubing squirrel for the rest of the day.
All right, Margie.
All right, we got some takeaways. Examine where you're going first.
Examine where
Slow
you're going
down.
first.
Yep.
Yes. Slow down and categorize your desires, needs, cravings, aspirations, and yearnings.
Mm-hmm.
Can you narrow things down to needs and healthy aspirations? If I'm getting offended on
You're lagging so bad. It's like you're going really slow. Come down here, be with me. Come down here, Raghunath. You won't be lagging like that. Hit the slide. Just do it. Here.
if I'm getting offended on a regular basis, it's my problem. Oh,
Hold it, Raghunath's coming. There
Next.
he comes.
There he goes. all right.
All right, go ahead, Mara.
All right. If I'm getting offended on a regular basis, it's my problem.
I can't hear you.
Oh, here you go. Okay, continue.
Don't tolerate the criticism of a great devotee.
No. Tolerate.
Guard against making offenses. What good is your
If someone tolerates an offense, pull out a hair, throw it to the ground, and
Pull out their mustache.
pull off their mustache. I'm
What
looking
good-
for people who are offending devotees so I can rip their mustache off.
What good is your religion if you're offending great souls?
I said that. I said that.
Be quick to apologize to avoid resentment fermenting.
Resentment. The resentment fermentment.
The resentful.
Apologize without mental reservations.
Oh, I like that. I like that. You know, there's a way to do the music in the Zoom thing now.
Figure it out.
Yeah, I got it figured. Thanks everybody for joining us. Whoa, what a day. What a day. So I heard up north in the East Coast, they're getting some stuff going on. Snowstorms, rainstorms. Skiers are happy, snowboarders are happy, everybody else is running. You know, the other day they said, don't go outside, where me and Mara lives. They're what kind of world do we live in when you can't go outside?
Yeah, you
It's
gotta go
scary.
outside. Even if it's cold, you go outside.
I know. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. And thanks because of the wonky schedule. But tomorrow, we are back on at... What time are we on?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Right, Mara?
Yeah, that's right. 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay. And remember all those things on Patreon. Yogi True is going to do something on Patreon again, right?
We haven't set it up yet, but we're hoping to.
And okay, and your thing's coming on Patreon when?
Tomorrow at 10?
Yep, tomorrow 10 a.m.
If you like what we're doing, you can join our Patreon community. That helps support us. Wisdom of the Sages 108 at gmail.com. Everybody on Zoom here gives at least $108 to be on Zoom. That's what it costs to get in the door. Just kidding. If you want to get on Zoom, you can do it for free if you want. wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Mara will send you the secret codes to enter the chamber.